So we're going to talk about bridges today. And the first bridge we're going to talk about is the suspension bridge. Now, what makes this bridge very unique is that this bridge is not being held together by the two rocks on each side. No, that's not what's holding that bridge up. And no, the two towers are not holding the bridges up as well either. The only thing that is holding that bridge up from plunging into the bay are those metal steel cables. Now, those cables are very unique because they have very high tensile strength. What does that mean? Well, basically it means I can take those cables and pull as hard as I can, and it's not going to snap in my hand. Have you ever taken a piece of string off your clothing before and just ripped it off? Yeah, that doesn't have very high tensile strength. You don't have to fear ever driving across these things because for every tenth of a foot of that cable, it holds about 1 ton of weight. Okay, so they can go far distances. Now, the other thing is because they can go such far distances, it needs a lot of material, which makes it very expensive. But it's great for, it's great for another reason because it does have flexibility to them. Okay. Now, flexibility can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. So let me explain. Okay. San Francisco is one of those earthquake-prone places. And if you know anything about construction in California, is that you want your buildings, you want your bridges to kind of have that flexibility as the earth shakes. So it would cause less damage. That's where flexibility is a good thing. Now, flexibility is not such a good thing because hence the bridge can move. So on very high windy days, and I'm not talking like 40 or 50 mile per hour winds here, I'm talking like hurricane style winds, could the bridge technically sway and move? Yes, it can. Which can make the bridge also very dangerous, and the flexibility is not such a good thing. So a lot of traffic can't be held on this thing because it is the cables that are holding it up. So it is strong, but it's only strong to a degree kind of thing. Okay. Usually engineers will put truss systems underneath it. Those are those triangles underneath the bridge here, just like along this. It kind of gives it extra support and strength where the bridge is needed. Some seventh graders always ask me, Mrs. Hey, can I go and take two bridges and hybrid them together? Yes, absolutely. And that's what some engineers do. They go and they take their bridge and they add maybe truss systems to like a suspension bridge kind of thing, and that's perfectly okay. Okay. Your second bridge that we're going to be talking about is our arch bridge, one of the oldest designs dating back to the Romans and Mesopotamians. Usually they used arches in their architecture, in like windows and doorways kind of thing, but they saw that it had great natural strength, as you guys read earlier. It has a keystone right in the middle here, and that's where they start to build, and then they go all the way out. Now, what makes this bridge very unique is that for the truss bridges, for the beam bridges, they all have to rely on piers. For the suspension bridge, they rely on their cables. However, with the arch bridge, the entire bridge is basically helping itself. So compression, which is when I push down on the bridge here, what winds up happening is that it pushes the bridge down, and then what winds up happening is it shares all of the weight throughout the entire bridge. So what winds up happening is it pushes. Now, it carries out through the entire curve. The bridge can only be supported through abutments. The abutments are these things on the side, and then I'm going to show you something as well. Abutments are basically what holds the bridge into place, okay, and it takes the direct thrust and pressure. Now, here's the thing. I always ask my 7th graders to take a couple minutes and try this, and I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes too. If you close your packets up and you try and make an arch bridge with your paper, so you just make that curve, can you make a bridge that can be held as an arch, freestanding arch? Now, here's the deal. You cannot have the bridge leaning against your hands. You cannot have the bridge leaning against books. You can't put it in the cracks of my desk. You can't roll it. You can't fold it. You can't fold the edges, kind of thing. It has to be completely freestanding. If it is completely freestanding, then then you can make your arch bridge. Try it now. I'll give you a minute or two. If you did this correctly and you didn't bend your paper or fold it or anything like that, you'll see that you cannot make an arch bridge without the abutments. Now, the abutments are basically what keeps that arch into place. Now, you have to know this word for your vocabulary quiz, and this is how I always tell 7th graders to remember this, okay? So, if you look at the word abutment, there's a funny word right here in the middle. And yes, it is the word but. Now, if you go back and look at your arch bridge and you see a curve, you're going to see a curve of a what? That's right, you're going to see a curve of a butt. And that's how you're always going to remember that for an arch bridge, in order to hold the curve, you are going to have abutments. Man, abutment. Ha ha. I know, I'm corny, but it is what it is. All right, our next bridge is the beam bridge. A beam bridge is basically horizontal beams that are all connected by these things called piers. The piers are down here. They are the simplest to build. This is why you're going to find them everywhere. These are the ones that you find all over the place when you're driving down 95 or on the turnpike. They are the least expensive to build. They're perfect for short distances. But here's the thing. Remember how I told you that suspension bridges were good for long distances? Well, and I'm telling you that this one's good for short distances. My picture here kind of makes me a liar, doesn't it? Well, here's the thing. In the picture here, this is what we call a daisy chain, okay? What basically this is not just one beam bridge. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so forth and so on. So this is all beam bridges that are connected together and then basically make what we call a causeway, okay? Underneath you have piers. Do not be tricked by these piers. Some 7th graders think it's a great idea. Oh, I can save some sticks and build one pier underneath the bridge and it will stand. Well, if I ask you a question right now, is it easier to stand on 1 foot or is it easier to stand on 2? Right away, I hope you would tell me that it's easier to stand on 2. Okay. To find the balance, it's very difficult, and what you also don't see underneath this bridge is that it makes like a Y formation, so it basically does have something that's holding it up on either end. Okay. These are the least expensive. These are the most common bridges that you will see. And last but not least is my truss bridge. My truss bridge is a simple skeletal structure that is made up of beams that are put together through triangles and steel. Now, these guys, these don't move. They are solid. They are strong bridges, okay? But the issue is that they are very hard to maintain. As you notice, they're all made out of steel bars. And if you guys know anything about leaving steel or metal out for a long period of time through the years with weather, eventually these steel bars are going to rust and eventually they are going to erode. With that being said, to fix these bridges are a royal pain in the budinsky. With engineers like this, they have issues trying to constantly maintain them. But they are strong. They do consist of triangles being a strong shape kind of thing. They have piers underneath them just like the beam bridges. And they can go for short or long distances. These are not flexible bridges. So places like we talked about earlier with California where they can move, these will not move. So these will be destroyed very, very easily in earthquake-prone places. Okay, so this is a little bit about my bridges. I hope that you guys took any notes, and if you have any questions, make sure you write them down, and I will be able to answer them when I get back on Monday. Okay? Thanks, guys.